Shavua Tov, Israel Brief community. I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief if you are joining us for the first time. And we are brought to you by these guys, Lay of the Land, every Monday to Thursday. We bring you those top stories making headlines in Israel. The stories that you might not see in your mainstream media. Now, I hope that for those of you who fasted, who observed Yom Kippur, that you had a peaceful and a meaningful fast. It was a little bit of a stressful weekend for us here in Israel. Just over the period of Yom Kippur, 320 rockets were fired by Hezbollah into the north of Israel, and there was a drone that landed and damaged a retirement home called Beit Juliana in the city of Herzliya. So not a very quiet Yom Kippur for us in Israel, and Israel remaining on high alert. It is day 374 of Israel's war, as we now know, on multiple fronts following the atrocities of the 7th of October that started with the invasion by Hamas into southern Israel, murdering over 1,200 people, committing mass rape, mutilating people, burning people alive, and taking hostage 251 hostages, of which 101 remain. Now, more about the hostages in today's audience question, but let's get into the top story. And 4 soldiers were killed during a drone attack on a military base near Binyamina last night. So I'm going to read to you a little bit from the statement, what we know are facts. And as always, we are very, very careful to make sure that news here is verified and caution people not to believe or spread rumors, and just to be aware that what happens in the news here in Israel affects real people. And just for those spreading the rumors that the IDF Chief of Staff Herzi Halevi was killed in this attack, he is very much alive and well. In fact, he was with those troops several hours ago. So what we do know is that a drone launched by Hezbollah, who claimed to have launched a swarm of drones, was fired towards Israel. The intended target is believed to have been the dining hall at this particular military base. Now, it caused a mass casualty event. About 51 were injured, and according to the Israeli media and according to medical centers, at least 41 were still in hospital today, but 4 soldiers, all of the age of 19, were killed in the attack. So I'm going to read to you from the statement of the IDF chief spokesperson, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari. He says, "We are investigating how a drone entered Israeli airspace undetected and struck a base. Since the beginning of the war, we have faced the threat of drones. We need to improve our defense systems, and we will learn from this event." Now, what is believed to have happened, and this is according to unconfirmed reports, is that one drone was shot down, and one drone might have been flying too low to be detected and was thought to have crashed. The paramedics, Magen David Adom, said in their statement, this was a very difficult scene. We declared it a mass casualty event and treated patients suffering from blast injuries and shrapnel. The injuries were severe, and we evacuated the injured to hospitals as quickly as possible for further medical treatment. In other news, at least 25 Hezbollah missiles and rockets have been fired very close to UNIFIL positions in the south of Lebanon. Now, UNIFIL, that's the United Nations Interim Forces in Lebanon, have exchanged some quite hostile words with the IDF over the last couple of days. UNIFIL are tasked with the responsibility of enforcing UN Resolution 1701, which clearly states that not only must Hezbollah be demilitarized, but they must also stay north of the Litani River. Now, several journalists were taken to the north. They were embedded with the IDF. So for people like Piers Morgan and others who say that the IDF will not let journalists into combat areas, it seems to work for people like Douglas Murray and Yotam Confino and Trey Yingst and a horde of others who have seen the situation there for themselves. In fact, Yotam Confino has written quite a damning report in the UK Telegraph against UNIFIL. Well, the IDF fired back towards the areas where Hezbollah was firing. Several UNIFIL troops were injured in the exchange. However, the IDF have been very, very clear to say that they are okay and that the IDF does not intend on targeting UNIFIL at all. Naturally, Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, has called this a war crime. It is very interesting that he hasn't called the firing of rockets, missiles and drones towards Israeli civilians a war crime over the last year, but I'll leave you to judge for yourself. Yesterday, the Prime Minister appealed to Guterres to please move UNIFIL troops back from the areas of combat where they could get hurt because Hezbollah are launching from positions very, very close. In fact, in an article in the New York Post written by Douglas Murray, you could actually see a Hezbollah tunnel about 100 meters away from the UNIFIL position, and UNIFIL troops there not doing a thing. So it is a very tense situation up there. We have had a lot of criticism by the international community towards the IDF for firing back towards the positions. However, the intended target was not UNIFIL, but Hezbollah, who were firing towards our communities. Yesterday, 2 IDF troops were injured as a result of Hezbollah fire towards the north of Israel. The New York Times published a very, very chilling expose over the weekend, an expose that was picked up by other media like the Daily Mail, the Washington Post, that reported how Hamas planned to carry out a massive 9/11 type attack against Israel in 2022. Now, they are believed to have stalled the attack till last year because they wanted to bring in Iran and Hezbollah, and so far that strategy has worked for them. One of the main reasons they wanted to attack Israel was not because of occupation for all of the clowns on campuses around the world, not because of oppression for all of the clowns in cities around the world who are marching, but because they wanted to scupper any normalization dialogue between Israel and Saudi Arabia. As you guys know, we have just celebrated 4 years of the Abraham Accords, and that circle we hope to widen and bring in Saudi Arabia. So for anybody who's out there shouting that Hamas wanted to put an end to oppression and occupation and all the buzzwords that you hear, the real reason they attacked was that they wanted to stop any normalization between Israel and the Saudis. Now, what they plan to do is to launch a multi-front attack, bringing in their allies, Hezbollah, Iran, and others. They were even prepared not only to attack like we saw on the 7th of October, but to also blow up one of the Israeli towers in Tel Aviv, which of course would be a mass casualty event beyond epic proportions. They even went so far as to think about using horse-drawn carriages to launch attacks from. So this is the level of depth, and the New York Times managed to get minutes from about 10 meetings with Hamas members, and the documents that they have to prove all of this is about a 59-page dossier of documents. Really, really chilling. They also appealed to Iran for about $500 million to launch their attack. This would pay for about 1,200 Nukhba forces to attack Israel from the Gaza Strip. Imagine what $500 million could do for the people of Gaza or the people of Iran who don't have basic necessities. And Hamas are quoted as saying they wanted to make sure that the enemy believed that Hamas was not interested in any unrest in Gaza. So This is the proof of what we have been speaking about now for over a year. And finally, the Israeli government have approved a second day of mourning in Israel. Now, the day of mourning will start immediately after Simchat Torah on October the 26th and 27th to coincide with the Hebrew date of the 24th of Tishrei. If you recall, on the 7th of October, the Hebrew calendar was starting to celebrate Simchat Torah. This is the very, very holy festival that we celebrate receiving the Torah, and that's when Hamas attacked. So not only was it the Sabbath, but it was also Simchat Torah, and as we saw over the weekend, the attacks by Hezbollah on the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, Yom Kippur. Naturally, I haven't heard from any world powers condemning attacks on Israelis, on the Jewish state, while we are celebrating our holy days. Maybe it's just me. But what we can expect on that day is there will be another state ceremony that will be attended by Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Isaac Herzog. Flags will be flown at half-mast. There will be special programming at schools and at military bases, and educational or entertainment facilities will close. So those are our top stories for today. Let's get into the audience question, and it comes from Alina in Johannesburg, who asks, is the world forgetting the hostages? Sadly, Alina, it looks like many around the world are forgetting about our hostages. Yesterday in Israel, we had about 100 ambassadors who did call for the immediate release of the hostages, but the world media seems to have forgotten all about them. However, we will not forget about them. We will make sure that while any hostages remain in Gaza, and at the moment there are 101, and every day we pray for those miracles, that we will ensure that their voices are heard and the voices of their families are heard until every single one of them comes home, either for burial or for the start of what will be a very long recovery process. So those are our top stories for today. Guys, don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online, our Facebook page at Lottel's site, our YouTube channel right here at the Israel Brief. Please click on that red subscribe button. We're on X at Lay of the Land 5, on my Instagram at Rolene_Marks, on LinkedIn at Rolene Marks. And guys, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Take care of yourselves. God bless you all. Love you all lots. And just a reminder that this week we begin Sukkot. So on Thursday, there will be no Israel Brief. So this week we will be Monday to Wednesday. Bye for now. God bless.